Greetings, Tezos Nation. Welcome to another edition of TezTalks Live. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons. Joining me today is Jacob Voelzke, president and co-founder of Project Thulu. Project Thulu, for those who might not know, is the nonprofit venture providing onboarding, grant funding, and technical skills workshops to underserved artists, primarily focused on Tezos and its art ecosystem and community. Hi, Jacob.
Hey.
Where are you right now? I don't need to ask about the weather. I can see it, but where are you?
Yeah, I'm in Costa Mesa, California, USA. Just thought it was a nice day outside and stepped outside. But if I get swarmed by bees, I've heard that there's a bee colony back here. That's just perfect moment for camera here.
Let's hope that does not happen.
Fingers crossed.
Um, to get the ball rolling, can you tell us a bit about your personal background and your journey into the exciting world of blockchain technology?
Yeah, sure. So I started as an artist very young, probably in my early teens or preteens. Started playing music, played in bands. The band did pretty well. We had like a whole scene that we sort of formed in my hometown. Then I ended up going to college for audio engineering. From there, I started touring, ironically, with a nonprofit. I was with the John Lennon Educational Tour Bus, which is a nonprofit mobile recording studio.
Interesting.
So I toured around the country in Canada, doing hands-on workshops with students, teaching them creative skills, creative technical skills, before eventually moving into Los Angeles. Settled down there for a while, worked in the film industry, and then started to hear about blockchain and started to really consider it because of the advantages that it has, especially for artists. I saw artists winning, I saw artists selling pieces and making a living, and there's a lot that needs to change, especially in industries like the music, the film industry. And I started to wonder how we can start to apply some of those things to those industries to make it better for people, and better for myself. I ended up starting a blockchain project a couple of years ago, ran that for a while, and then continuously expanded from there.
Very cool. And that journey, of course, has led you to becoming president and co-founder of Project Thulu, which
Mhm.
I introed a little bit off the top. But for those who might not be familiar just yet, can you run us through exactly what Project Thulu is and what you're looking to accomplish with it?
Sure. So Project Thulu is a 501c3 nonprofit private foundation. We're based in the US, and we exist to deliver grant funding to underserved artists. And we also host events where we offer technical, creative, and Web3 skills onboarding. So our mission is to essentially prevent artists from falling through the cracks, to provide necessary sustenance and what they need to keep going, and also to equip a new generation of artists and reinforce the skills of current artists so that they can continue on doing what they're doing and better their skill sets.
Okay. And before we dive in further, can you tell me why you decided to name this venture Project Thulu?
Sure. So Thulu obviously is a reference to Cthulhu, the H.P. Lovecraft story. And there's a lot of connections there. I guess we had originally started another project, Zero X Thulu, with the name intentionally misspelled Thulu and not Thulhu. And there's a couple of interesting things about that whole IP and property. One, the Cthulhu mythos is one of the earliest decentralized IPs. Most of the IP that has come out of the Cthulhu universe is other artists contributing, adding on to the stories, and things like that. Another thing worth mentioning is that H.P. Lovecraft, frankly, was kind of a bigot. And so, in doing what we're doing, we're kind of reclaiming some of that legacy, and we're applying what we're doing in a way that's more equitable, more accessible, and more open to a lot of different people.
Okay. And you mentioned you kind of have a historic background of supporting artists and working with artists and being an artist yourself. But beyond that, like, why did you personally feel like it was important to create a project like this to support underserved artists?
I think a lot of it is firsthand experience. when I was touring and doing onboarding workshops with students in creative fields, we would sometimes have major artists collaborate with those students, and some students who had never worked or performed or done anything creatively, really. So it's an eye-opening experience when you see someone who may not have the technical means or know how to get started to express themselves creatively, and the impact that that has is immeasurable. When you see someone who really needs an outlet find a way to express themselves, that's just it's a really heartwarming, for the lack of a better word. It's an impressive experience, and um, there's also a lot of artists. I think it's pretty typical to hear of artists who aren't making it just based alone on their art. But then there's a lot of people who just kind of function almost exclusively in a creative world, and they don't know much else. Um,
Hmm.
those people need support. They historically have needed support, and there's a long list of artists that have passed away completely broke, and you would have never known it, completely unknown and fallen through the cracks. But it's just what they do. It's a part of what they do. So we believe those people need support, and we try to issue that as best we can.
Okay. And as far as like who's eligible to participate in Project Thulu, what exactly does underserved mean as you're using it here?
Sure. So underserved essentially means someone that is either disadvantaged, coming from a disadvantaged community, or just does not have the proper equity and representation that
Hmm.
a lot of other people do. It's a lot easier for someone who is advantaged to make it in a field like art. They maybe have connections, they have big buyers already lined up or very close to them. If you're not from one of those more privileged communities, it's a very, very rough struggle to try to get your way up in that field. So the people that we're trying to help are people who need the help. And it's a lot of artists. It's a lot of different types of people, and not everyone has everything that they need. And that's kind of the beauty of working in the Tezos community. It's accessible, it's very open, it's very international,
Hmm.
and there are a lot of opportunities for people just based on the tech alone to get involved, to start making sales with their art, and to make a living from their art.
Okay. And to that end, I understand Project Thulu's first grant will be going out toward the end of November, unless I've misunderstood something. How much can you tell us about like the kinds of grants that are available?
Sure. So the first grant probably end of November, if not then like early December. So that will be coming soon, and the types of grants are essentially it's uh, funds to help an artist survive. So we'll be issuing the first grant exclusively in Tezos, in the Tezos denomination, to help people get started. And we also have sponsors and partners who are contributing other gifts for that artist to make their way. So as we issue the funds, we're also trying to get support from other partners and sponsors to give people what they need. And that may be a range of different things, things to help them in their blockchain journey, let's say like cold wallets, things like that, things that help with creative development, like software, hardware, and also different things just in the Web3 environment, in the art world, that will help them with resources and supplies.
Well, that was the next thing I was going to ask was about additional supports on top of obviously money is great, but for
Mhm.
somebody making a move into this space, those additional supports and that kind of mentorship is really important. Um, can you expand on that a little bit as far as if I am an underserved artist and I'm getting involved with Project Thulu and I'm getting one of these grants, I'm getting supported. What would happen on your end?
Sure. So, yeah, I guess if an underserved artist is receiving one of our grants, we want to work closely with them to make sure that they understand the art field, the art world. We'll be working with them and build a relationship with them going forward. We'll be helping to exhibit their art at the events that we host. And we'll also be onboarding them and helping to provide them with different skills.
Mm.
When we do events, we're going to have workshops that are open to people so that anyone can learn, anyone can get their hands on and start to learn, say, video editing or graphic design and different creative skills, but then also some of the technical skills. Not necessarily all of the artists that we expect to receive grants will be exclusively in the Web3 world. Some of them may not have any experience
Mm.
with it. So Web3 onboarding is another important factor that we're going to help provide education and hands-on guidance with those artists, because the Web3 and blockchain might not be for every artist, and it's, I'm not going to make up a story and say that it's a panacea that's just going to solve everything, but artists should, especially if they're trying to make a living from their art, pursue every stream of revenue that's
Mm.
available to them. And the traditional art world has a lot of flaws. Not to say Web3 doesn't as well, but it's an extra opportunity for people to make ends meet.
Okay. And is Project Thulu accepting grant applications currently? And if not, when will you be?
Not as of now, but very, very soon. Not entirely sure when this episode is going to air, but we are implementing the grant application process into the website as we speak. It should be completed by this weekend, and so should go live by next week as of this filming. So I think that with that grant process, um, we're going to open it up. We're going to make announcements, and we're going to welcome people to take a look and see if they feel that they qualify or if they're interested. And I would encourage everyone to take a look and fill it out. Reach out if you feel you need it, because most artists at a lot of different levels still could use some form of help.
Mm. And the best way for somebody to take the first step toward doing that is to go to your website?
Yes, yes. The application will be on the website. We'll also post it on some of our social channels. We have an X or Twitter account, whichever you prefer to call it, Facebook, Instagram. We have a Discord server that is live. And we're happy to help if you reach out if you have any questions about it. But it will be available on the website. There will be a nice little application, grant application thing, like at the menu bar, that will help guide people to it.
And what's the website?
The website is projectthulu.org. So project THULU.org.
Beautiful. And I understand that you're currently also onboarding partners and sponsors for Project Thulu. Can you talk a bit about what that process looks like and what your team is looking for?
Sure. So, in onboarding partners and sponsors to help with our cause, a lot of it is relationship building. A lot of it is us communicating with people that we've had relationships with or are seeking to gain relationships with, and people who can provide something that helps an artist on their journey. So, obviously, we're interested in things like cold wallets. We're interested in support from arts focused blockchains and foundations. We're interested in creative software, hardware, so computers, editing software, artwork creation software. And then other things on the Web3 side to help an artist make their releases a little bit more easily, to fix some of the learning curve.
Mm.
A lot of people might be intimidated by the fact that there's code involved, but there are a lot of launchpad services that make it very easy for just about anyone to get started. So when we're searching for those sponsors and for those partners, we're searching for people who strongly align with what we're looking to do, who understand the needs of artists and are willing to help us out, help them out, and provide something for those artists. So that could mean that when we issue a grant, dream world, we're getting someone like Adobe to provide the Adobe full suite package to them, so that they receive a subscription. So they could receive that software, possibly hardware. Computers would be ideal for us. If they're contributing to our grant fund, that's also a very ideal thing. And then we also want to have them have a presence at our events. And when we're doing workshops, there is some tech, some AV involved in those setups.
Mm.
People will need computers, either bringing them themselves or will need them provided for people to be able to work through and get hands-on and try a few things for themselves. So we would love to have sponsors and partners at our events, involved in what we're doing, boots on the ground. And yeah, I guess we're talking to a few people. It's a pretty exciting thing. My previous experiences working with the touring mobile nonprofit, the John Lennon Bus, we had sponsors like Apple, Sony, Canon, Avid, a number of different larger entities in the creative
Hmm.
field, and they were able to provide artists and would-be artists with a lot of the tools and resources that they need to really be successful and to learn and absorb and practice very, very quickly.
Okay. But it sounds like, obviously cash donations and equipment donations are great, but also anybody who can help these artists out in any way. It doesn't necessarily have to be a cash or an in-kind contribution. It could be knowledge or mentorship. Is that right?
Abs- Absolutely, yeah. Knowledge, mentorship, courses, training, certification, all of these things are beneficial to artists, and we would love to seek those things from interested sponsors and partners.
Okay.
I think that it's very important, obviously, the educational side of everything, because a lot of artists don't have the funds to maybe pursue college or to pursue training and go through a bajillion YouTube videos trying to learn the ins and outs of the software. It's best to get it directly from the source. And some of those people, some of those partners and sponsors and different companies in the creative fields, they have that built. They can definitely find a quick channel to be able to provide it, and whatever helps reinforce the livelihood of artists, I think we're very interested in hearing them out.
Okay. And how can people who are interested in donating or partnering with your team get involved?
Sure. Thank you. I'm glad you asked that. So, if people are looking to get involved by supporting us through donations or partnerships, sponsorships, we have contact info on the website. It's contact@projectthulu.org is the email that you can reach out to. You can also reach out directly to me on Twitter. I'm Mad Chops. Ooh, it's in
Ad
there somewhere.
chops.
Yeah, and you can also reach out to any of our accounts. We check our DMs, also in our Discord. But on the website, on projectthulu.org, we accept a couple of different denominations. The fiat donation is about to go live as well, so we'll be accepting through Stripe donations and pledges through there, which could be any amount that you decide to contribute. We also accept Tezos, we accept Etherlink, we accept Ethereum and Bitcoin, and those wallet addresses are on the website as well.
Okay.
Will say too that I'm really appreciative of the Tezos community. It's definitely been the strongest source for people who are participating, who are believing in our cause, who are contributing to us. So the Tezos wallet is getting pretty fat, which is really, really nice and good to see. Um, and I think that's important because that means that that money is it's transparent, especially on the blockchain. You can look at our wallet addresses, look at it on one of the block explorers. You can see what's there. You can watch it get issued out. I think that's important, especially for a nonprofit, to have that level of transparency.
Mhm.
So fiat, obviously, I think works just the same. It really helps us, but blockchain technology has really open the doors to what I think is a better way of doing business for a nonprofit.
Okay. And something that's just occurred to me. So, as far as artists that you're looking to work with, is this open? Is this primarily U.S. based, or is this open internationally?
It's primarily US based. I think that internationally, we're still open to that too. The people who need it, and accessibility. should be open like that. And frankly, the U.S. people in the U.S. have a lot of advantages over people in a lot of different countries. So we're open to applications and people seeking grants from just about anywhere. We want to go where it's needed. We want those funds to help people where it's needed. So yeah, I think we're very open to that, and there's a lot of different opportunities, I guess, for us to expand. We're currently based solely in the U.S., but we would definitely like to help abroad.
Okay. This is all great stuff so far, and I'm excited to learn more. But before we dive into the nitty gritty, are you ready for the world famous TezTalks lightning round?
Let's do this. I'm so ready for this. This is
Oh,
amazing.
all right. It is lightning round time. Remember, there are no wrong answers. This is just for fun, so our viewers can get to know you a little bit better. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Are you a night owl or an early riser?
I'm an early riser. I wake up painfully early and always before my alarm clock. It just happens. I love being up late, but if I see the sunrise, I lose my mind.
Okay. Exercise or naps?
Exercise. I can't nap. Napping kills me for some reason. It just like I cannot function if I've had a nap during the day. I'm just I have to shut off and I'm groggy the whole time. And exercise is good for you. I like to run. It's a good excuse to be out and hiking, I guess. If you just jog at a normal pace, you don't look like a weirdo, just sort of wandering and staring at trees and counting bugs. And I always love to catch snakes too. So that's secretly why I go running. Trying to catch creepy crawlies and stuff in the
I
woods.
share your passion for catching snakes. I've always enjoyed it.
It's a blast.
Uh, chicken or fish?
Fish. I don't hate on chicken, but there's only one chicken. Maybe there's different varieties like Chidori and whatever. But fish. My dad was actually a licensed fishing guide. I've had a lot of really interesting different varieties of fish. I've had it raw. I've had it cooked. I've had it every which way you can imagine, and I feel like it's healthier. I don't know why. Maybe it's like the good fats or something. I like it. It's flavorful. I like the more buttery fishes like walleye, like cod, salmon. Yeah,
Okay, so you're a fish man.
I'm a fish man.
What is your favorite country to visit for a vacation?
Whew. That is a tough one, but if I had to say, probably Ecuador. Um, I got to go to Ecuador working on a luxury travel show, which was a very cushy, posh kind of gig. We got to stay in an eco lodge in the Amazon rainforest, which was just an experience that I would recommend highly to everyone. Talk about getting a taste of the creepy crawlies. I mean, there's anacondas roaming free and monkeys and all sorts of other insects. The ants are dangerous. Like, don't mess with the ants. They're so tiny, but they're like brutal. So yeah, I would say Ecuador. It's got
Okay.
beach, it's got mountains, it's got untouched wildlife, and the people there are incredible. There's a bunch of fruits and vegetables I've never even heard of. I could go on and on. I
I
love
spent
Ecuador.
I spent last Christmas there. It's a great place.
Oh, all right, cool.
Name one. If you were elected king of the world, what's the first thing you would do?
King of the world. If I was elected king of the world, I would dismantle the monarchy. I don't think that power should be concentrated. I well, it's there's a lot of temptation. I feel like in like, oh yeah, I'm the king of the world. I can do whatever I want, but that's not good for people. Um, so yeah, I would be working to dismantle it, step down, pass it off to a group, a senate or a democracy or something like that. Just because, I feel like I would make decisions, but then power corrupts.
That's a great answer.
Oh, thank
Uh,
you.
name one thing you will never do again.
Oh, wow. Probably lots of things I would never do again, but if I really had to call one out, the amusement park rides on the top of the Stratosphere in Las Vegas. If you've ever been to the Stratosphere, it looks like the Space Needle. Goes up, I don't know, 100 stories or something like that. And there are amusement park rides at the very top of it, and they are like rides that take you on a swing and you're over the edge. You could just free fall 100 flights of stairs if it broke. Um, Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to do that again.
Okay.
I have never been so scared in my life.
Okay.
And I like roller coasters. I like these rides, but that was
Too high.
horrific. Too much. Yeah, too
Okay.
much.
What is the secret to happiness?
Wow, the secret to happiness. Compassion is the secret to happiness. A lot of things will make you unhappy. A lot of people may influence your unhappiness, but finding a commonality and finding a way to reach them and understand them and to feel where they're coming from um, helps you become happy with your own approach to those things. And I think too that that goes inward as well. Like if you have compassion for yourself, you understand your own ups and downs, your own flaws, and you can kind of forgive your own wandering mind, if that helps make sense.
Okay.
Be compassionate to yourself, be compassionate to others, and you'll find some happiness.
Okay. Do you have any pets?
No, I don't. I had a cat, Mowgli, and he was my little homie. He was my best friend for good 16 years. And sadly, he passed about a year ago. Um, and that's actually when I switched. I've never shared this before, but since you asked, not to get emotional here, but when he passed, that's when I switched my profile picture to a cat, kind of in remembrance of that, and also because I was just absolutely heartbroken. That cat followed me everywhere. I have the most hilarious pictures. If anyone ever wants to see him, just ask. He was like attached at the hip for me, and when I lost him, I just wanted to have some way to remember it, and I kind of didn't want to vent about it online because I was so vulnerable about it that I just feel like someone says the wrong thing and I would just lose it. So,
Well,
yeah.
my condolences.
Thank you. Thank you.
Finally, what is your favorite thing to do on a rainy day?
Favorite thing to do on a rainy day? You know what? I play a lot of Minecraft. I'm not gonna lie. I like playing Minecraft. Sometimes when it's raining outside, it's also raining in Minecraft, and that's the best time to go fishing in Minecraft.
Okay.
Which kind of weird, but I just like it. It's satisfying. I can just sort of perch up on the couch, enjoy the rain. I also like to just stare at the rain through a window. We don't get many thunderstorms here in Southern California, so it's an exciting moment, and I like the smell too. What's it called? The petrichor, I think is
I
the
believe
word.
it is petrichor, yes.
Yeah, yeah. I love that smell. It's got to be my favorite smell in the world. So yeah, it would
Perfect.
be boring for me to say I just stare at it, but I probably do.
Okay. Thank you. Those were excellent answers. You have shattered the record for the longest lightning round ever. Uh, and this concludes the TezTalks lightning round. Let's get back into it. Uh, now that we've covered the basics of Project Thulu, I'm hoping we can zoom in a bit and talk about Project Thulu's connection to the Tezos ecosystem. So, first off, can you tell us a bit about your personal history with Tezos? How did you first get involved with this ecosystem?
Absolutely. When I first started learning about NFTs, I was introduced to a number of different ecosystems, but Tezos was the first place that I went. It really caught my eye. And my first NFT that I ever collected was Data Healer by Sutu on Tezos. And probably in must have been April or May of 2021. And when it was the first time that I'm like, you know what, like I can fully understand why I would want to collect a piece of digital art.
Mm,
It just made sense. And then there was a strong community. Um, it welcomed me in. One of the person who onboarded me, NFTB, she's always been active in the Tezos ecosystem as well. Yeah, I was just like welcomed in. I really enjoyed it, and it still has got to be probably the strongest and most vibrant place to find and discover artists, different types, and what's mediums for art. Like I
Mm.
have XR pieces, I have VR, AR, I have videos, I have code based art, I have a collection of maybe like 50 or 60 games that are all built into NFTs. I love it. Yeah. So that was kind of my introduction to it. And then spending some time in the blockchain world and seeing a lot of different competitions, I ended up sticking there, and I just always came back to it, and it could appreciate it. Tezos has a very long standing commitment to the arts, to artists, and the artists in there, come hell or high water, are always there, and they love the systems, they love the platforms. Object and FX Hash and Taya are just incredible platforms for artists to get exposure and to experiment, to do new things. So yeah.
Okay. And I'm assuming that experience that you had in this space led directly to the decision to sort of focus so much of Project Thulu's efforts in the Tezos art ecosystem and community. Is that right?
Absolutely, yeah. We have decided to put a lot of the focus into the Tezos world and the Tezos ecosystems, primarily because um, they have always been dedicated to art. They have always had strong support there, and I would argue that it is the art chain. It's where people go. Um, Even if they're minting on other chains, they come back to it. They collect there. Some of the biggest collectors in the space, some of the biggest artists in the space, all use it as a platform, and it's something everyone's very fond of. Beyond that too, there are other advantages to Tezos in my mind. Um, Security is a big one. Mickelson, the language that it's built on, is a formal verification language. So there's an inherent level of security. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself and go on a rant, because you probably have other questions about it. But um, it just seems like that's where the arts are. And if we were to welcome an artist in to any kind of space, we would want them to go to a community like that, where the people are supportive, where the people are open to experimentation. They understand that it's accessible, and it's there's really no rules or rhyme or reason or expectations that you might find in other places. It is just very straightforward, very open, and just super solid.
Okay. And you mentioned Etherlink a little bit earlier, very briefly,
Mhm.
but as I understand that Etherlink will play an important role in Project Thulu moving forward. Can you tell us a bit about how the role that it will play and how sort of accessing the value and audience that's available in the EVM ecosystem through Etherlink will help Project Thulu reach its goals?
Absolutely, yeah. So when Etherlink was first announced, I was all over it. I jumped in. I was probably one of the earliest people into their Discord, and started tooling around with it right away. I'm an amateur dev. I don't have coding experience really. I learned Basic when I was very young,
Hmm.
but nothing uses Basic. That was just making games on calculators in high school or whatever. Um, but with Etherlink, the advantages to having an EVM chain is that there's a lot more resources available for devs who work in Solidity, who work with EVM launch pads. It's easier, I think, for a lot of artists to get in and create their own contracts. There's just a lot of existing infrastructure for it. So for us, there are a lot of things in some of our builds that we're intending that um, EVM makes it so easy, and Etherlink makes it so easy and fast that I could literally build some of these things myself with minimal experience. I actually have created a couple of coins on Etherlink on the testnet. I created Roll, and I created what was the other one? Air Fryer on the Etherlink testnet. I may have created the first DAO on Etherlink. Using Roll as the governance token. We had a mint that was on the testnet exclusively for Air Fryer. Um, I find it easier, and it's sort of like if I can do it, and I'm kind of like I would consider myself an amateur. Um, I think that it helps just for anyone to be able to do it and have access. Accessibility is super important, but then there's also the factor of as we find devs, as we build into more blockchain based platforms and things to complement what we're doing. It's easier for us to find the right people. There's a very very broad base of people who work with EVM with Solidity, and so yeah, Etherlink makes that accessible, and it's just really really fast. I love that. I made a video a while ago doing like a speed run on swapping or something like that, and it's before I can refresh. It happens before I can refresh the block explorer. So I love that.
Okay. And I've heard that you might be releasing a utility token for Project Thulu on Etherlink as well. How much can you tell us about that? Like, what will that token be used for?
Ah, yes, the infamous alpha drop. Yes. So yeah, we are looking into doing a drop on Etherlink with utility token and a governance element to it, so that it would be a governance utility token. Um, I kind of want to be a little leaky and share a few things about it, but I think that should make it kind of obvious too. Um, with a nonprofit, um, one of the biggest things I think that anyone who's been familiar with nonprofits has experienced is like, well, how much of the donations are going to what? Like, where is it? Where's the transparency? You have to go, you can find most of these things on a lot of nonprofits, but it's kind of like a wild goose chase. You have to look and really dig, and a lot of people don't know where to go.
Hmm.
With a decentralized nonprofit, with a decentralized treasury, um, it's very clear to people how much is there, and it also opens up things like what we're considering, which is a decentralized voting structure for who can receive grants. So yeah, we're intending to build a treasury fund that is exclusively decentralized and built onto the token, and then a governance platform where people can uh, vote on who receives grants, and there's more of a community aspect to helping to curate who is receiving these grants. We are still looking to do the traditional means, traditional fundraising, have our own grant funds,
Hmm.
and still maintain it the way that we're currently doing it, but having it with the token and having a governance platform that allows people to participate in that, I think is very important, and I think it's going to help change a lot of how business could be done
Hmm.
for a nonprofit. And it's also a great learning experience when we're doing events. If we're able to issue people some of our token, show them how that works, we may inspire other companies, other brands, other entities to get into why this kind of technology is valuable to us.
Okay. I have a bunch more questions, but as we're sort of coming to the end, there's a couple things I wanted to make sure that we get to.
Yeah.
One of them being, what can you tell us about the types of artists that you're hoping to support with Project Thulu? Like, what does your ideal Project Thulu candidate look like?
Sure. So the ideal Project Thulu candidate um, isn't necessarily someone who's getting $100,000 sales already. They can be at any stage. They can be very early stage, but essentially, most artists and most of our prime candidates, um, they need support, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think some of the artists in the past. I mean, Marvin Gaye passed away like in debt, millions of dollars. Billie Holiday passed away broke. Vincent van Gogh and Rembrandt and Edgar Allan Poe, most of them had no support systems.
Hmm.
So making a living as an artist is a huge challenge. And there is no one thing answers everything kind of situation. So, we're looking for people who can benefit from an approach to equity, who can benefit from having their community, if it's underrepresented, find some representation and speak to that community through their art. We're looking for people who are full time. Art is in their blood. I think that there are lifer artists, people that just cannot do. They need to create art,
Mm,
and for a lot of different reasons. And I think that those are the types of candidates that we're looking to bring in and offer grants to.
okay. And for those who are interested in moving into the blockchain and Web3 based art space, what's the most important thing you think somebody making that move needs to know?
Wow, yeah. So if you are an artist and you're looking to move into the Web3 space and to create and sell art in Web3, it is a different medium on its own. I think that there's a lot of interesting research you can do into artists and their approaches. And as an example, I would give, say, Damien Hirst. Damien Hirst is one of the highest grossing artists probably of all time. You can think whatever you want about his art, but how he promotes his art and how he markets himself as an artist is groundbreaking and is very different from the approach of a lot of different people. If you're considering these things as you move into the Web3 space, how you put yourself forward as an artist changes when you leave just the physical media realm or just the digital media realm, and you're going into a different kind of marketplace. So there are a lot of different opportunities. The people who would collect from you have a different set of expectations, I would say, than if you sold oil paintings on canvas. And there's a lot of extra things that you can apply to your art. And most people in the Web3 space would call it utility. I'm not saying every artist would have to apply some utility. Art is the utility in most cases.
Mm,
But there are interesting and fun things that you can do that are engaging, that makes what you do interactive and makes it it's something that you're not just you have a good chance to seize an opportunity to get people who are going to collect from you and support you potentially for a lifetime. And as you start to explore what that means and what kind of utility you can add onto the art that you're delivering, I think that that's important. And I think that that helps an artist survive in a lot of ways. It adds to improve your chances of surviving exclusively on your art.
okay. We could go on all day, but unfortunately, we're
Sure.
almost at the end here.
All right.
To all our viewers, thanks for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with us, our social media contacts can be found at tezoscommons.org/TezTalks, and we'd love to hear from you. Jacob, thanks so much for joining us today. It's always awesome to speak to the folks supporting artists to make their way into the thriving Tezos art community. Is there anything else you'd like to mention before we sign off here?
I just want to say thank you. Thanks for having me on here. I really appreciate you
Our
guys
pleasure.
reaching out, offering these kind of talks to people. And if anyone is looking to get involved with Project Thulu, our website again is projectthulu.org. We are trying to raise funds right now to provide grants to artists. We are trying to host events. Probably 2025, we'll start rolling those out. We want people, especially artists, to survive. We believe that there's a phrase that we have, art beyond acceptance, that a lot of people throughout history have just kind of accepted that artists exist. And we want to move it past that because of the value that art brings to our lives. It is around us 24/7. You're probably going to go home tonight after you watch this and scroll and look at pictures that an artist made, or watch a movie that a ton of artists made together, or something like that. That is the value that it brings to our lives. So we need to really get focused and find ways to help those people so we can enrich everybody's lives.
Awesome. To everyone out there in Tezos land, thanks for joining us on Tez Talks Live. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons, and our awesome guest has been Jacob Voelzke, aka Mad Chops, president and co-founder of Project Thulu. Now let's go give some underserved artists a leg up.
Thank you, everyone.